Thanksgivings ago, I recorded my aunt telling me the story because I was 13 and I never knew the story. And it goes like this. We're skating and she was like, "Are you wearing your helmet?" And I'm like, "What kind of question is that?" Like, I'm 48 years old. Some places I do and sometimes I don't. "Well, you should be wearing your helmet at the skate parks." And I'm like, "What are you talking about? Why are you talking about a helmet?" "Well, ever since the accident." I'm like, "The accident?" And I'm like, "What do you know about the accident when I got knocked out?" "Yeah, I was there." And I was like, "You were there?" We skated at a skate park called Montebello, and there was a pool like 2 blocks away called the Dust Bowl. It was where all the rad guys from Montebello would skate vertical because Montebello had no vertical yet. So we'd go skate it, and I was all excited, like, to show my dad, I guess, like, "See, this is what I've been talking about." I wanted to show him the pool. I go in, I got knocked out. Well, I was knocked out before my dad even came in the door. My aunt said that I went around to the end and went and fell in. She makes it sound like I went to the deep end and tried to drop in. So I must have tripped or something. I don't know what I did because we didn't drop in yet. I was like unconscious for 5 hours. Took me to the hospital and I was like in a little coma. Yeah, it was like you're never skating again. So yeah, I was the brunt of that whole era joke. They had all these pools. My friends were 4 or 5 years older than me, and there's this guy Monkey that had this pool. They wouldn't let me skate or nothing, and they'd let me come watch my friend if I wear my helmet and watch him. I go sit in the shallow end and wear my helmet to watch him skate. It lasted until that kind of group of guys went around, which was like one summer. I mean, I only remember going to one pool where they made me sit and wear the helmet, and then they wouldn't let me ride the other pools. Like, I just couldn't go. That pool got closed. They were all pissed at me. They were just like, "This is the idiot that ruined our scene," you know? I was that idiot forever. It's all hazing. They hazed me, so I had to haze the next group. I'll tell you quick little hazing stories at Whittier. The locals were like Hago and Lucero. They lived there, and I was pretty far away. I was a local that wasn't a local, really. They'd skate every day, all day, and I'd show up like twice a week or whatever, you know. I'd show up, and there was this new kid named Bubbles, Scott Crosby. Actually, I still talk to him. And it was like the new, like, awkward little kid, kind of a little bit overweight, maybe. There was Bubbles, and there was the bigger guy was named Log. So Bubbles, we come in, and we're skating around, and we used to do this thing where when someone drop in, you drop in on them. They would always instigate me. "You're the guy that's gonna go, like, torture these people," or whatever. They drop in after them, and then they come out, "Oh, come on, stop. And you're like, "Okay." They drop in, you drop in after them, and then you're like, "No, go ahead. And then you drop in, and you drop after them. So I was doing it to Bubbles. They told me to do it to Bubbles. I kept doing it. I hadn't even met the kid. Kept doing it. I ran him over, and I broke his toe. First day I met the guy. Then there was Log, and we used to pack this BB gun with ice and shoot it, and it would just turn into mist. It'd go, psst. It'd be like, "Whoa. A little mist of water," you know? We thought it was really funny, and they showed me, like, "Ah, cool," and I was doing it. And Log came up, and he came up to the counter, and he wanted to work there, you know what I mean? And it was like, I forget what the thing was. It was kind of like, "You work here, I should work here," or whatever. And I'm like, "Yeah, whatever." And like, I packed the gun, and I just went, bam! But I was so darn close, it was ice, and it just went, and then just blood started pouring 20 little holes, like, dripping down his face. It was like, "I'm getting you fired." We had this other, Chris May used to come skate there. It was so empty. He'd skate in the keyhole by himself. So I'd pack up a little ice out of the ice machine, and I see him rolling into the keyhole. Do it a couple times, and he comes into the office, like, make sure no one's else around so it's not like a scene or anyone's joking. It's like, "Hey, I'm trying to skate. Will you stop doing the ice balls in there?" I'm like, "Yeah, I won't do it. Sorry." And so I remember he's skating by himself, and I'm like, no one's else out there, and I look out, and no one's skating. I didn't see him come back out of the thing, so I went back out to look for him, and I'm like, not at the keyhole, and there's a capsule, and there's a clover. Walked to the little mini thing, and he's just knocked out, kind of coming to it. I'm like, Chris. And he didn't know his name, nothing. Like, it was like, there was these girls there that same guys egged me on. They're all like talking and being or whatever, and they gave me a lighter, and I lit her hair, and her hair just went. Nothing went bad, but it could have. It's fun. Neil's the best. Neil's the best, man. So much of what skateboarding really is about now was kind of laid out through him, even if people don't know. Kind of the way people don't know Mark. People might think they're not influenced by Mark, but they're influenced by Mark. I mean, Neil's before that. Yeah, Neil's great. There's a lot of great guys, but Neil was the best. It'd be funny. He'd show up to the skate park, and he had just original ideas and thoughts and everything, and he skated so different than people. He'd get holes in his shoes, you know, and he would come skate park with a giant orange cone pylon, like the whole front of it, this big, shoelaced onto his shoe, like the whole cone with that little weird end, and stupid. And we were all like, this rules. So Neil come back to the park. Every Skate City local would have him. we have them. And he'd just be pissed. I think he thought it was stealing. So he'd show up with a penny shoe glued on his toe, a new version of a thing. And then we'd all get the penny and he'd just be pissed again. I just think he looks at, like, he's artistic, he's a thinker, and like, as soon as it becomes everybody's, it's like, to him, I think. I never got close enough to like really become one of those dudes that he could hate, you know? We saw Caballero do Caballeros, and we wanted to learn them one day. And we tried them, and we tried them, and we tried them, we couldn't do it. And I think I was like, why don't we try grabbing them so we can make them? And Neil was like, oh, that's gay. I don't think we either made them that day, and then the next time we skated, we both kind of had learned them. I think that's how it got the name. Gay twists were initially between the legs, between the leg mute grab. And Neil had them real good. I made a few that way, and I just stopped doing them that way. I started doing them backside, just like gay and lesbian twists. Yeah, a little bit sometimes. He likes skating little things. He came up and skated my friend's pool the other day, but I realized like it's just not that our pools are so like backyardy now. Like I want to make one that's more like back in the day where they're real spread open and not very deep, because I skate with Bowman and a lot of these guys are skating again, Stropel. All the stuff that is out there now is not really what they rode. It's more like the Del Mar thing. It was like 35 feet wide and 8 feet deep. There's all this time and space, and I saw Neil skating this thing. I was like, no wonder he doesn't want to ride anything. It doesn't even fit his body and style and mentality of skating. I had people like knocking on my door. I'd open it up and I don't even know who they were, and brought 2 chickens and just let them in my house like, hey, and left. Stesic put my address in an indie ad. Yvette reminds me of this story. It was her birthday or our anniversary maybe. And so I'm like, okay, we're going out to dinner or whatever. So we're walking down our hallway, like down our stairs to go out the door. And as we're getting down the hair, I was like, oh, that's odd, like, hello. Oh, that's British, or what is that? No, it's like, it's hello, I'm Gary Valentine, and this is whatever Lee Ralph said it would be okay to stay here. It's Gary. I never met him. Yeah. I might. Scary. and maybe Jason Ellis. It was Gary and somebody, and they were just like at the door and said, yeah, Lee Ralph said it would be all right to stay here or whatever. And so instead of taking my wife out to an anniversary, he just stayed. And I was going to, I don't even know these stories. I've just been told these stories over, because I wash all the bad memories out of my head. I was going, I guess, on a trip a month later or 2 months later or whatever. And so I guess Yvette wrote a note. And Gary actually goes, last year, he's like, I got that letter. He gave it back to me. And it's a letter Yvette wrote to him like, you've overstayed your welcome. It's time to pack your stuff and leave. Do not call Lance and ask to stay longer. That's awesome. Gons came to my house to go skate, but my dad collects and has a museum at my house. And so my dad catches Mark before he even comes down the stairs to skate, and goes up into the museum and hangs out and spends all day with him, and like never came and skated and left. Oh, my dad was awesome. He was born in England, and he was one of the kids that were shipped out of London during the bombing of the war. They're all shipped up north. So he started collecting like bombs and things, and then he was in the Lancers, and then he started collecting all this military stuff. So he has all these military uniforms, and they're all in our house, like just in our house when we were kids. So people thought we were like, what is wrong with these people? You know, there's mannequins in the living room and stuff with uniforms on and stuff. His sisters hated it, I loved it. So he's like always had this dream to like have a museum, you know? He builds a 4-car, 2-story garage to open his museum next to the house. And then he has his band, he's in his bagpipe band, and he's got guards and a lady that is a queen, you know, the queen. She's a queen impersonator, old British cars, and he's having the opening of his museum without anybody there, but he's just opening it. And it's just him and his parade, and no there's not an opening. It's on a private street, you know. Just marching his parade down the street and into the thing, and then stopping and, Your Highness, please open the gate, like the whole production. And cops pull up like, what are you doing? I'm opening my museum. What museum? You can't have a museum. You have no permits for this thing. Never opened. It was just like, oh my gosh, no wonder my son and I are out of our minds. Well, it stayed there. It's there. It's a museum, but it's not open to the public by any means. When he retired, he moved the whole thing to Lexington, Virginia. Redid the whole thing, built the whole thing, took him a year. Has opening day and everything, and then something's wrong. My mom's like, something's wrong. So they go to the hospital and everything, check him out or whatever. He has a brain tumor. He dies of a brain tumor 6 months later. But he opened the museum, and it's still there. My mom runs it. Mountain Military Memorabilia. It's hard probably to picture it now, but I mean, every ramp was 16 to 24 feet wide at that time. So it was just like, we're doing something good. Let's try to do something, you know, raise the bar or whatever. So it's like, what about this? What about that? It's all kind of bad ideas, but I always thought we kind of sat down together and made up ideas. Stacy always said that I drew it on a napkin or something. And if there's a channel in the middle of the thing and I added all this garbage that didn't work, it was probably me. I was trying to find a way to make walls that you didn't have to do tricks on. Probably. Never did. I never landed my last McTwist. I did one when I was 40. That was 8 years ago. I needed a new son. I need diapers. I have to buy diapers. I have to be broke and need to buy diapers for me to make that trick. This is the only time I ever made them. You should stay for this one for just a second. I'll do it real quick. It's not even that funny. I told my wife once to write down the 10 things you didn't know about me. And one of them was Neil Blender ad came up and we were bored, and so we're in the street drawing with Chip Ahoy cookies. He draws a big drawing of my mom. And my mom, she comes out and we get in trouble. We have to hose down the street. We're busted like little 12-year-old kids. So my wife's telling me the story, and you know, you got in trouble, you had to clean off the hose and everything, and we had been married for 2 years, Lance. It's like a story that if you're like 6 or something. My wife and I had been married for 2 years already. We get in trouble for drawing on the street out in front of my mom's house with cookies. Okay, you can go. Skateboarding's always best today. It's always best today because yesterday is yesterday, it's done. So it's cool, but today is good, you know what I mean? That doesn't take away from, you know, sitting in your room looking at magazines and dreaming about the way things would be at the fruit bowl or whatever, the best. But I can still do that today, so yeah, right now.
A white girl. Any girl is better than Willie Santos for sex.
He stands up, he's, what the fuck? I mean, he's yelling. I honestly, and like he basically yelled me out the door.